Charles Darwin and the Theory of Evolution. Charles Darwin's Voyage of the Beagle. Galapagos Islands. Even though these islands are close together, they varied greatly in their climates, amount of rainfall, vegetation differences, different species, Darwin's observations. The plants and animals were well suited to their environment. Example, a cactus is adapted to live in dry areas. Species vary in traits and some traits are better suited for different areas. Darwin's finches. The beaks were different from island to island. Beaks were better suited for feeding depending upon location, islands. Darwin's tortoises. Due to differences in plant life, Darwin noticed that tortoises had differences in shell shape and neck lengths. 15-2 Jean-Baptiste Lamarck. One of the first scientists to notice living things have changed over time. Proposed that by selective use or disuse of organs, organisms acquired or lost certain traits during their lifetimes. These traits could then be passed on to their offspring. Do you agree with this theory? Darwin presents his case 1859. In this book, Darwin proposed the concept of evolution by the method of natural selection. Evolution is? Natural selection is? Speciation is? Explain how these relate. Evolution by natural selection. Struggle for existence. Each species will compete for food, space, basic needs. Survival of the fittest/natural selection. Fitness equals able to survive and reproduce. Descent with modification. The fittest reproduce, thus passing on their great traits, adaptations. An inherited characteristic that increases an organism's chance of survival. Examples. 1. Anatomical/structural porcupines, sharp quills, camouflage, mimicry. 2. Behavioral mating rituals. 3. Physiological plant performing photosynthesis. Evolution occurs in populations, not individuals. But what is a population? A group of interbreeding species. Evolution of populations. Genetic variation is studied in populations, group of same species that interbreed. Gene pool, all genes that are present in a population. Relative frequency, number of times an allele occurs in a gene pool, compared with the number of times other alleles for the same gene occur. How do we know when evolution has occurred? A change in the relative frequency of alleles in a population. Allele for brown fur. Allele for black fur. 48% heterozygous black. 16% homozygous black. 36% homozygous brown. 60% or 30-50 equals brown allele. Genetic variation in populations. Two main sources of genetic variation. Mutations. Change in a sequence of DNA. Gene shuffling. Independent movement of chromosomes during meiosis and crossing over. 3 causes of evolution. 1. Genetic drift, change in the gene pool due to chance. Small populations will be greatly affected. A. Bottleneck effect, overhunting, earthquake, fire, etc. This can lead to endangered species. B. Founder effect, small group leaves the source population to establish their own. Example, Polydactyly in Amish that came to the United States, they carried the allele. 3 causes of evolution count. 2. Gene flow. Fertile immigrants or emigrants bringing or taking alleles from the population. Example, if your second period class has all blue-eyed people, BB, and someone comes in that has brown eyes, BB. 3 causes of evolution count. Natural selection. Well-suited organisms increase their chance of surviving, thus reproducing to pass on their genes, alleles, to the next generation. Example, peppered moth. Example. Single gene and polygenic traits. The number of phenotypes produced for a trait depends on how many genes control the trait. Single gene trait. Single gene with 2 alleles. Fewer phenotypes than polygenic traits. X, widow's peak. Polygenic trait. Controlled by 2 or more genes, each with more than 2 alleles. Many different genotypes and phenotypes. X, height. Natural selection acts on polygenic traits 3 ways. Directional selection. Disruptive selection. Stabilizing selection. Genetic equilibrium. If a population was to not evolve, or change, the population would reach equilibrium, when allele frequencies stay the same. Conditions required to reach equilibrium. Random mating. Large population. No movement in or out of population. No mutations. No natural selection.